Hello, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us. We are right at 10:30, so I think we're going to get started. Um, Welcome to 30 Minutes to Smarter Sustainable Purchasing webinar. We're going to take you on a quick guided tour of everything Greenhealth approved. I do want to confirm that we are recording the session, so we do encourage you to share it widely with colleagues who are interested. And for those of you who couldn't make it live, we want to make it accessible to you as well. And then if you're watching this live and you want to watch it again and again and again, we will plan to post it on our website after all is said and done. And also I wanted to let you know that we will be doing a 10-minute Q&A. I'll be speaking for about 20 minutes and then we'll reserve some time at the end for a couple of questions. But as we go along, if you want to pop those questions in the Q&A box, we can follow along and get to it towards the end. My name is Jamie Dwyer. I'm the Sustainability Director with Greenhealth Approved. I've been in this role for about 3 years now. I know many of you who are in the room, and it's nice to meet everybody who's coming in. But I've been in this role for about 3 years now, and it's been really exciting to see the program grow. We are seeing some real traction around the need for transparency within the healthcare industry, and Greenhealth Approved is doing everything we can to push that effort forward. Just a little more context, my background is in nursing. For over 20 years, have worked in clinical settings, and I still do work one shift a week. So it gives me an intimate connection to this work. So let's get right into it. So I am going to start with a little bit of history and context. Over 10 years ago, Healthcare Without Harm launched the Healthier Hospital Initiative. Now, I know many of you are familiar with this program, but for those of you who are not, HHI was a campaign to get suppliers and hospitals on board with eliminating chemicals of concern from furnishings and interiors to ultimately help limit the human and environmental exposure to toxins around the manufacturing, use, and end-of-life phases for specific products. It was an incredibly popular program, but after a few years, they realized that there was some greenwashing going on, that many of the attestations from suppliers could not be backed by supporting documentation. And so this led to an increased effort from hospital procurement staff to have to manually vet these products on their own. Ultimately, that costs a lot of money and time. So it was then that Healthcare Without Harm saw that there was a real need in the market for a standard and a verification tool to quiet that greenwashing and to amplify products that were indeed safer. So HHI was sunset. It's dead in the water. Say goodbye to HHI forever. And Greenhealth Approved was launched as the organization's mechanism for broader market transformation. We're going to get into the specifics of this a little bit later, but I just wanted to highlight that we validate products within 6 product categories, 4 of which are in the built environment, carpet, flooring, healthy interiors, furnishing, textiles, and 2 that are more medical product device related, gloves and medical products. So from a procurement standpoint, the seal is meant to offer an easy way to distinguish transparent products that meet strict criteria. It really is meant to help simplify the procurement specialist job of manually vetting, like I mentioned before. And some of the perks for purchasers and designers who are specifying these products is that it reduces that internal research burden. You no longer have to spend copious amounts of time digging up paperwork, becoming a chemical expert. If you didn't go to school for chemistry, you probably wish you would have if you're this person who's having to figure out what that chemical does to human and environmental impact. It simplifies and speeds up purchasing decisions so that when you see the seal, you can trust that it's already been vetted and that it's tried and true. It does support chemicals of concern reduction goals. So I know a lot of hospitals on this call and more broadly have large goals and efforts to reduce that exposure to chemicals. So by purchasing products that have already gone through the vetting process, you're just reinforcing your own internal policies around eliminating these chemicals from your supply chain. The seal recognizes that it's backed by credible, non-biased expertise. So we'll get more into this a little bit later as well, but our criteria is developed by Healthcare Without Harm and Practice Green Health experts um, who uh, who know a lot about what these chemicals are doing to our ecosystems. Um, and you don't have to rely on a supplier attestation to inform you of that because we are already a guide in the space. It also creates market-wide pressure for healthier products. So when hospitals consistently ask suppliers for the seal, it incentivizes more manufacturers to reformulate and disclose, expanding the pool of safer products industry-wide. Now, from a supplier standpoint, the seal is really meant to help streamline marketing efforts. So, being able to highlight a product that has been designed and manufactured with sustainability criteria in mind. So some, but not all of the perks include differentiation in a crowded market. So we all know that this space is incredibly competitive. A lot of suppliers, have very similar products, but how you stand out in a room of brands that also are trying to, create sustainable products, the seal allows you to, stand out. Um, it can increase your sales cycle, the speed of your sales cycle. So just having quick talking points around where you're transparent and where your efforts are being funneled. Built-in credibility with a key buyer base. Healthcare providers can skip their own research burden, like we talked about, just making it an easier sell. Stronger brand and marketing position, and then, like I said, that easy sales point for your sales team to be able to quickly speak to what sustainability efforts your organization has supported. So how is our criteria developed? We rely on our affiliate entities, Healthcare Without Harm and Practice Green Health, to establish product categories, the criteria, and the associated thresholds for relevant chemicals. This is often a reflection of what our European and global colleagues are prioritizing, as the US can often lag when it comes to chemical legislation and regulation. Because the categories are so vastly different in their manufacturing, utilization, and end of life, specific chemicals are called out as they pertain to each category. So you'll see that throughout our criteria, many chemicals overlap and the specific thresholds. But as you can understand, that what we find concerning in flooring and carpeting might not necessarily be what we find concerning in medical products and gloves. So there really is specific standpoints within criteria and how we approach each category. They're quite unique. For our built environment categories, I just want to make a quick note that Green Health Approved is a respected standard within the Common Materials Framework, which is a methodology of how we as an industry can talk about standards and materials and their implications to human and environmental health. Green Health Approved is a multi-attribute standard, which means that we don't just focus on the human health impacts of products, but we also take into consideration the environmental and social and circular implications as well. And you'll see here that the Common Materials Framework uses 5 buckets of impact. Each of our product categories touches on anywhere from 2 to 5 of these buckets. And I just want to say that this is an important caveat because we feel strongly that the multi-attribute approach encompasses a broader sustainability story. And it really is a value add for suppliers who are trying to get a competitive edge in the market to push this market transformation in the right direction. I also think it's super helpful for procurement specialists to understand that this approach it helps us understand why we are focusing on the specific chemicals that are listed in our criteria. And it allows them to understand why signaling these buckets is helpful for their own procurement decisions. So here's just a quick snapshot visual of the application process. So first, the supplier would submit a general application with basic information around details of the organization, where you're located, how big you are, where you manufacture. And then you would submit an intake form, which is an Excel sheet listing every ingredient in the product. all the way to the decimal level. So this is where we do require 100% transparency. Um, we collect, supporting documentations that can include HPDs, declare labels, policies, and certain certifications. We then send out a vetting agreement and attestation documents that are signed. And then once we receive those documents, that's when the thorough review of chemicals takes place. So we look at that at the threshold level. This can take anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks, depending on how quickly we can receive all the documents. Um, and if the supplier does not pass, I just want to make this very clear that we do not shame, nor do we publicly announce failure. We really try to understand if it's a chemical that can be taken out and substituted, if they can take it back to their technical team and maybe reassess and then resubmit for another try at it. Um, so then once the product does officially pass, it's officially approved, and we send out the licensing agreement, which is signed into a 3-year contract with an annual renewal. So if at any point during that 3-year contract, any formulations change, the supplier is legally obligated to inform us of any changes. We then kind of take another second stab at the vetting and make sure that those chemical changes still reflect our criteria. And then we work closely with, the supplier's marketing team to create a web page that is linked on our Greenhealth Approved website. And then finally, we do a big press release, an email blast to our listserv, including LinkedIn posts that get spread out to our respective networks. So I'm just going to go through quickly our 6 categories and kind of let you know what's included, what's not included, and some of the criteria you can expect. So we'll start with carpet. Carpet, as many of you know, is one of the most chemically intensive products that we see in our interior space. You can have anywhere from 65 to 85 chemicals in a single carpet product. So this scope includes carpet tile, broadloom carpet, carpet padding. What is not included are indoor rugs or outdoor rugs and carpet. You can see here that the carpet criteria includes chemical and material transparency. Carpet, there's a lot of recyclability claims around carpet and take-back programs. We really try to keep carpet out of the landfill because of what goes into manufacturing, this product. And we also do require VOC certification. So this is not all encompassing. This is just a quick little shot of what you can expect in our criteria. Just the caveat of all of our criteria documents are on our website, so you can head over there when this is done if you really want to dig into the granular details of each criteria. Okay, so similar to carpet flooring, what is included is resilient flooring products, fluid applied polymer flooring, and concrete. What is excluded is floor leveling compounds and underlayment. Similarly, we look at chemical and material transparency, how these products are maintained, VOC wood and isocyanate certification, and the adhesives that go into these products. Okay, healthy interiors, the furnishings category. So what's included in this is built-in and modular casework, panels and partitions, seating, storage units, multi-component furniture systems. So the criteria for this is just really 5 chemicals, including formaldehyde, PFAS, PVC, antimicrobials, and flame retardants. And then we do require VOC certification as well. So for furnishings, we work closely with BIFMA, the Business Institutional Furniture Manufacturing Association, to make the verification process easier for you. So in attempts to not duplicate effort, we understand there's a lot of standards out there doing really great work. We rely on BIFMA to do the verification piece for us. So if you're a furnishing supplier and you have products that meet that 744 BIFMA level certification, you automatically qualify for Greenhealth Approved. We then therefore waive your vetting fee and then just license the products as normal. If you don't have 744, but your products do meet that criteria, you do have an option to get an auditor who will just audit your bill of materials and then certify you that way. So there's a couple different routes you can go. Furnishing textiles. This is an exciting new category. We launched this just this past January. This is where I will say our criteria is the most robust. This is a very complex supply chain. What is included in this scope is upholstery, wall coverings, leather alternatives, privacy curtains, window coverings, and drapery. Again, it's a very long list of chemicals and material transparency. We do require a climate commitment for this criteria. There's also some criteria around end of life and labor. So we also do require analytical testing certificates for this one. There's a lot of dyes and certain chemicals um, that have impact on human skin when you sit. So there's a few different analytical testing certificates that we would require depending on what formulation the product is made out of. So similar to BIFMA, we recognize that there are so many standards doing great work out there. So we do want to recognize that if a product is Oeko-Tex Standard 100 certified, that also, satisfies our criteria around chemical transparency. So if a product is Oeko-Tex Standard 100, we waive the vetting fee, which is meant to make your life easier and cheaper, no duplicative paperwork. It is a highly recognized standard in the marketplace. They're doing great work and they're actually testing for these chemicals. So we do want to acknowledge that if a product has already gone through that rigorous testing, we waive our vetting fee, and then we include all the supporting documentation that helps back up all the other criteria around climate, waste, and labor. Okay, moving on to gloves. We're almost there, everybody. I know we have a few minutes until we're going to open it up for questions. So gloves, what's included in gloves? Examination and surgical gloves used within healthcare. Again, the gloves manufacturing process and world of labor is very complex. So we do have criteria around the chemicals and materials that go into these products. Including skin sensitization testing. We know that there used to be a lot of powders and lubricants that caused a lot of irritation. So we're strict on that type of criteria. We also understand that the manufacturing practices historically in this supply chain have been often not ideal from a human rights perspective. So we do require some policies around labor and supply chain transparency. Um, and medical products, finally, our last category. So medical products include here listed breast pumps, some single-use IV, uh, flimsy plastic type products. Um, Currently, as the criteria is written, we are only focusing on two chemicals of concern, which is PVC and DEHP, two of the most concerning that we find in these supplies. Um, we were recognized in 2024. We understand that the landscape has changed quite a bit, but the EPA has recognized this specific category, medical products, as a nationally recognized standard. So 2 years ago, when it meant a little bit more, was used in procurement policies throughout the US government, which is amazing. I also want to highlight, as we got this EPA recognition, that although Greenhealth Approved was launched to help hospitals procure safer and more sustainable products, we are also seeing in different city and county RFP language and policies around procurement for better and safer products. So I know the city and county of San Francisco has included some of our criteria in their RFP language. So it is, although we are specific to healthcare, we are not all encompassed by healthcare. We would love to see these healthy products in all of our built environments. But that EPA recognition was a really great was a good thing for us. And I'll also say that our medical products are under construction, so we are excited to launch a refresh of our criteria later this fall. Understanding that we want this product category to also be multi-attribute, we're going to be expanding our chemicals of concern criteria. We will include some climate, labor, and waste aspects as well. So keep your eyes peeled. We'll be launching that sometime later this year, but it'll be an exciting refresh that will make the medical product category a little bit more robust. Okay, so I know you're all wanting to know, where can I find Greenhealth approved products? Well, You can buy all Green Health approved products in your traditional GPO contracts. We are GPO agnostic. The idea is that these products are sold in um, all traditional channels, right? So if you cannot easily find these products on your GPO's website, we do encourage you to have conversations with your GPO representative and say that you would love to be able to filter easily through these products so that it can streamline your own decision-making processes. Also, on our website, we do have a list of every supplier who has gone through the program and who has certified products. So feel free to jump over to the Green Health Approved website to find out more. And then also supplier websites. So if you find that a supplier through our website has gone through the program and has products that are verified, you can pop over to their website and easily find the products there. So with that, I know we're right at 10:51. I want to open it up for any questions. I'm going to just check here into the Q&A box and see what we have. Okay, Craig, looks like you've got a big one. Related to environmental service, how can incorporating into sustainability and recycling initiatives. Many of the products we use daily contain chemicals. Hmm. Yes, Craig. So for a hospital committee or sustainability meeting, you could also add um, yes, Craig, let me read into that a little bit more so that I can answer your question a little bit more thoroughly. But the chemical side of piece for cleaning supplies, when it comes to how the categories are decided on what we decide to vet and how we establish that, it does come from a need and an interest from the hospital side. I know there are standards out there that do specify products specifically around the cleaning and environmental services piece of it. And we've actually internally discussed that quite a few times. Should we include that as a category that we are evaluating? I do know that there are other standards that are doing that. So I'm happy to offline talk more on that, but I think you make some good points that the chemical cleaning side of things can often implicate a lot of what goes on with some of these products. Joe Kane, any other PPE, gowns, masks, shoe covers that you have reviewed? That's a great question, Joe. Currently, right now, we're just looking at gloves. We do have plans to launch patient linens and textiles, so sheets and blankets and pillowcases and gowns, things that touch the patients directly. Um, there's been a big focus and shift in healthcare to go to reusable linens. So, just completely getting away from plastic and disposable PPE. So hopefully we'll see that category launch in the next, I can't give a specific, but we're hoping in the future, in the near future, around PPE. I'm going to pop over to the chat real quick. Let's see here. Okay, let's see. Any other questions
There
in
is a
the
question
chat?
from Donna Wolf in the
Hmm.
chat about printers.
Yes, Donna, thank you. I'm seeing that now. Um, Printers. Yes, we've had some internal conversations around office supplies and printers specifically. I know that printers can be quite problematic regarding PVC ink, the inks that go into some of this printing. Although small concentrations, it's still quite toxic. But I know there are some companies doing some great things. But yes, just to answer your question briefly, that we are looking at other categories that would include printers in office supplies. So more to come on that as well. Right. I don't see any other questions here. I do want to just make another ping for if you're having questions, we're always happy to answer them. My email address is here, jamie.dwyer@greenhealthexchange.com. Our website is also listed here, greenhealthapproved.org. You can find out about each product category on the website. If you're also looking for some resources that back up why we look at what we're considering, please also go over to the Practice Green Health website and the Healthcare Without Harm website. There's a lot of great resources over there. Um, Okay, at 10:55, a few minutes early, but I think that we can wrap up there. I just want to say thank you so much to everybody for joining us. Feel free to share this once we post on our website. Um, and we look forward to seeing you at the next one. Also, oh, well, sorry, last housekeeping. We do have a survey we would love for you to fill out. I think Victoria's going to pop it in the chat here. Um, we would love any feedback. And we look forward to hearing from you.
Just a note, the survey will actually, you'll get it once you exit from the call.
Awesome. Okay. Exit strategy.
There is one more question that we got to the hosts and panelists about the costs for textiles if they're already Ecotex approved.
Oh yeah, that's a great question. So we have fees around the vetting process and the licensing process. So where products that are already Ocotex standard 100 certified, 100 certified, those products get waived the vetting fee. And then depending on how many products and how many formulations, we calculate the licensing fees based on how many products we would license. So it kind of depends. I'm happy to also plug that into our algorithm and give anybody a quote. But it usually depends. It's anywhere from 1 to 400 products. So depending on where you fall in that number, we can give you a quote around pricing. Okay, thank you, everybody. See you next time.